I'm straight too.
Oh, you got so many. We're gonna this. We're gonna ruin this so much. You have no idea what we've got planned. You are walking into Thunderdome. No, you're gonna honestly like. We do this all the time. Every generation, like even the greatest generation, like I mean, they dropped atomic bombs on people. Like, don't let the perspective. We always think that the world is at its worst in the moment that we're in it, but like you have to remain optimistic because the images that they present to us are to heighten your fear. That's how they make their. Oh, you're gonna love the show tonight, I think. You're gonna love the show. But so what are you thinking?
I think a lot of young people are a little bit not happy with the choice of candidates we have. I guess we feel like our voice doesn't matter.
Oh, it so matters.
Yeah.
In fact, your voice is. Can I tell you something about advertisers? Do you know that advertisers, they look at different demographics? But the largest demographic that they look at is 18 to 24. That's the one that means everything to them. Use that power, the power of the purse. I'm 61. I'm not even listed anymore. Like, they're literally, companies would be like, what about people over 55? And they're like, I think they might be dead. Like, don't discount the power that you guys have. You have a tremendous amount.
How do I tell other young people that?
I would think on Instagram. I would tell them on Instagram. Well, I don't know. This is the fight, man. No generation ever feels empowered or seen or any of those things. But what I would suggest is trust your discomfort because you clearly feel it. But discomfort is a wonderful motivator. It's sort of the difference between stress and anxiety. Like, action is the antidote to anxiety. And if you feel anxiety, it will lessen as you take action. Small actions, like a little bit every day. I have young people that live in my house. And I usually see them after 3 when they've woken up. And generally, they just want me to make them a bagel. So it's different. But honestly, like, that discomfort will spur you on. I'm sure of it. And your generation. And then you'll be in a position to save us, but you won't want to.
What's a book you think everyone should have on their shelf?
Wow, that's a great question. And I really thought you were going to end it with what's a book. Because you get that a lot from the kids now. Sir, I have a question. What's a book? And I was going to say, it's like a movie. You flip. I would say, so this may sound antiquated. I feel like I was raised on Kurt Vonnegut. And so any Kurt Vonnegut, I had the whole from Player Piano to Breakfast of Champions to Slaughterhouse-Five to, Mother, all of them. And he was my favorite author by far. And I felt like he educated me in the genre of optimistic, cynical humanism. Like the thing that you're talking about, how do you maintain? So he's a guy who was an author who came of age. He fought in World War II. He saw Dresden. That's what Slaughterhouse-Five was about. It was about his experiences seeing the worst that people could do. And people always mistook his cynicism as, or his, I guess I should say, his dryness as cynicism, but it was really idealism. He believed so much in people that he couldn't help but be somewhat disappointed that we were blowing it in the way that we were blowing it. But I would say line your desk with Kurt Vonnegut and you cannot go wrong. And I was lucky enough to get to interview him when he was, hadn't passed away yet. No, but he came on, and when he passed away, his son sent me, he was also a really wonderful caricaturist, sent me a doodle of his that he had inscribed to me before he passed. So it's one of my most cherished, but I would say Kurt Vonnegut, you can't go wrong. And like Playboy. Best piece of advice. Wow, that is such an end-of-life question. That really is. Nobody ever comes to like a 22-year-old and like, best advice. And they're like, well, beer on liquor, never been sicker. All right. The best advice, I'm trying to think of good advice. I don't seek counsel in that way. Do you, like a mentor? I didn't have a mentor. This was back in like late 70s, early 80s, so there were no mentors. I was raised feral. So I don't have a ton of advice. Oh, here's one. This is a good one. So I used to host a show on MTV. It was a talk show, and then it got bought by Paramount to replace Arsenio. So I was the natural replacement for Arsenio. Because I think a lot of people are like, hey, the hip African-American guy, let's stick a maybe small Jew in his place and see what happens. And so the show was on for like 9 months and it got canceled. And we were all very sad. And when your name is on it and they tell you to get out of the building, like it's very hurtful. David Letterman came on the final show. And on the final show, he said to me, don't confuse cancellation with failure. And I thought that was really interesting. And then in the commercial break, he said, although this is also a failure. He just didn't want me to confuse it. You had a question about college campuses?
Yeah, so like,
okay, so the cafeteria, if you want to go by the quad, you're going to look for the quad. Usually the food is near the quad.
I just wanted to ask you your advice about navigating the political landscape, especially during election season in college campuses and engaging conversations with people who might have opposite.
Listen, the beautiful thing about college is that it's built for that. It's built for you to push the limits of who you think you are and who you think you want to be. And it's a wonderful experience. The thing that I would say to you is have the courage in the internal barometer that you've developed over the years for yourself about right and wrong, and don't necessarily just allow the conditions that you find yourself in to shape that. You're here for a reason, and you're that way for a reason, and be strong in that, and learn, be open to people, but be convicted. It's, you know, I think it's a wonderful experience for kids, and I don't worry about, you know, Gen Z, they're so f***ing, shut the f*** up. You know, it's, every generation is like, that generation sucks. We were awesome. And I'm like, meh. I know my generation, like, we were doing whippets in 11th grade, like,